to make the day count, need to get in the zone. Tune in, the two bald guys and a microphone. Introducing Coach Papa Tim Stewart's his name. Pay attention to his wisdom, it'll raise your game. He wants to see a better world, so he plays his part. Always loving, always giving, cause he's got a big heart. The co-host won't boast, but he can stand on his own. From the state of Iowa, it's the man Kent Jones. He's impressive on the mic and he don't need a cord. And whether hosting or he's hooping, he's controlling the boards. And the one feeding a hungry herd of Americans, make you feel right at home like he's your best friend. Though he's not a city slicker, he's as cool as the fun. Just a witty wisdom giver, Mr. Rancher Run. Set the tone for your day and get in the zone. Tune in to
Two bald guys and a microphone.
Morning. It's two bald guys and a microphone. High atop the Tunyon Building and a little south of McHenry, Illinois.
South side.
Good morning. Hey, Gary Lang under new ownership. How about it?
Is that new signs, everything?
Yeah, new signs, everything will be coming.
I didn't get that far north. I come from the south.
Oh, that's right. You do come from the south.
Actually, I come from straight across, really.
Yeah, but the four-wheel drive, there's a few bumps in there.
There's a few bumps.
Yeah, good weekend.
Great weekend. And just a quick shout out to our good friends at Natural Therapy Wellness Center. Let's give them credit. Of course, John and his team over there have all 100% licensed massage therapists. They do massage therapy, reflexology, you name it. You're stressed, these guys can make you blessed. Check them out at www.mchenrymassage.com, 815-385-8190. Interesting how people carry stress. A lot of it loads right between your shoulders. You ever get that? Oh, man. Go see our friends over at Natural Therapy Wellness Center.
How do you get licensed to be a massage therapist? Is there a test drive you got to do? I mean,
right. What did we have when we were kids? Growing up, we had the simulators.
Oh, yes.
Right.
And in 1972, when I went through the simulator, it wasn't, the technology wasn't quite there. So they had a box in Nebraska. They actually taught manual transmission.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Back in the day. Yeah.
The clutch, you had to
like a tractor or a farm implement clutch. Absolutely. What a great weekend. Was able to run out to Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin, for a surprise dual birthday party for my in-laws. They turned 80. So all their kids were there, some of the grandkids, and a lot of good friends. They were totally surprised. My sister-in-law, Susie, put it all together. So it was just awesome to give them a surprise and have fun that way, which was great. And then yesterday spent all day out in Rockford watching Colette and the MCC Scots go 2-1 on the day, do some basketball. So always fun to be able to hang out in the gym and do two things that mean the most, to me, is to hang out with family, friends, and then basketball. So
you've always said your happy place is that squeak of
the floor. It was wonderful. Yeah, absolutely wonderful. And great job, Coach Toussaint. So Coach Kayla Toussaint, the new coach at MCC. She's got that team working really well and looking good. And you're old when the coaches that you coached are now coaches.
Well, so, and Mike Toussaint is the head of the Johnsburg.
Yeah, amazing guy. Just a great family.
And I just joined the sideline again. I'm with the 6th grade boys at Johnsburg Middle School.
Yeah.
We got 23 boys. And we got a talented group. It's going to be fun to watch them develop.
Get them in the little dribblers and all that good stuff.
This is another thing I like about Coach Toussaint. He's like, he sends a little white paper down. These are the kind of things. Yeah. He says, I want no patterns. I want no offenses. I want the kids fundamentals, and man-to-man. That's it. We'll teach everything else. If we can get man-to-man down in 6th grade and we can teach them how to dribble, shoot, and pass, set a pick and roll, set a pick and roll, we'll be great. So, in life, wouldn't it be better if we took more time to spend on the basics?
Yeah, right.
How to communicate to a person, how to treat each other with respect. Many years ago, there was a book came out, everything I needed to know in life I learned in kindergarten.
Right.
And it was a series of essays. It wasn't like a whole book just on that topic. And the essay, I learned everything I needed to know when I was in kindergarten, really reflected back on, take a nap in the middle of the day, slow down, have an apple and a glass of milk at 10.
Yeah. Yeah. So last week we found out that, of course, this is part 2 of the fourth quarter, how to create momentum, how to finish the year strong, how to push. We found out that you can't do it just by journaling on gratitude. However, I did get a lot of messages. One from Mel Robinson. Mel, thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. And our good friend Anthony Robbins. Thanks again, which sent me a TikTok of gratitude.
Well, it comes back to, it's not the only thing you do,
right?
But it's one of the tools that you need to put in your box. If you're waking up in the morning, you're doing your gratitude list, and you take time, and you're grateful for the money I got from the bank I robbed.
Yeah,
there's some issues with that.
There might be issues,
but it's like anything else. We actually had a big discussion on this in our men's group over the weekend, that it was the old faith versus works type of weekend, and the whole gratitude thing. You can't write it down and then go out and be a curmudgeon,
right?
Yeah. You've got to be and live out. I had the opportunity on Friday to speak to a leadership class at Wilmot High School for Jake Urbantrout. Jake's the head basketball coach up there, and I walk in. This is a leadership class, and I'm speaking on leadership. And it's 7:35 in the morning, so it's the first one. And these high school, most of them juniors and seniors, are just kind of sitting there going, "All right, inspire me." Well, part of leadership is being self-inspired.
That's right.
I don't know how it's going for you lately, but last night I woke up at a quarter after 12 at 2:45. I get excited coming in here knowing that I have an opportunity to touch someone's lives, to make a difference in someone's life. It might just be that, "Hi, Mom, how are you?"
That's
that
right.
One person is listening. She's always listening from up in heaven. She's got the radar on up there. But the chance to make a difference in someone's life is the most powerful thing that we can do. And as a coach, it's a heavy responsibility.
Yeah. Well, that's why we're talking about the fourth quarter, not the fourth quarter of a game necessarily, but creating momentum, how to finish the fourth quarter of the year strong, how to start the first part of next year strong, and really what I wanted that was on my mind too is kind of what you were a little bit talking about there, but. In the fourth quarter of anything, whether it's life, whether it's business, whether it is whatever it is, we tend to focus on score. We tend to focus on winning, quote unquote, whatever that may be in your life. And when it comes to personal things, we are rolling into the most difficult, the most depressing time of the year. As much as you'd love to have it be all joyful, rainbows, rainbow farting, unicorns. Good morning, Damon. Glad to have you with us, friend. Appreciate you. Oh, good. Well, we're not going to get that up there. So we'll stay with this as my mouse is not reaching. So that's good. So Dawn just says good morning. So here's the deal is I think here to really finish that fourth quarter of whatever it is you have to leverage the opportunities to connect. Right?
Yes.
The holiday gatherings and the neighborhood invites, and it makes it super easy, right? To reach out and connect with people. However, a lot of us don't take advantage of that, or if we do, we go and we're quiet and we show and leave, right?
Or drink a few beers.
Or drink a few beers and away we go. So I think in order to get better every single day, in order to really push hard for that final stretch of whatever it is, and as Damon said last week, the fourth quarter can be in the second quarter of the calendar year, whatever you set your calendar too. But how do you connect, especially this time of year when it's the most depressing? We see suicide the highest. How do you connect there? And oh, by the way, if anybody out there is or does have thoughts of suicide, I don't know if you know this, but 988 is the number to call.
I did not know that.
988 is a suicide prevention hotline. And if you are and you dial 988, you're going to get a real voice on the phone and somebody to talk to and help you through that. So serious thing, but I wanted to put that out there too. So if you dial 988, you'll get somebody right away.
It's interesting stuff. You look at people who are in the fourth quarter, and we look at one specific guy who's in the fourth quarter of his career, and he is just messing up big time. That's Tom Brady. This guy has it all.
He's in overtime. He's in overtime. Let's be honest. The fourth quarter of his career was a few years ago.
But he came to Tampa Bay, went out, won a Super Bowl last year, and retired.
Well, a couple years ago.
2 years ago, and then he unretired, and then his personal life is falling apart. His teammates are disrespecting him constantly. The opponents, the NFL, they're like, "Hey, Tom, it's time."
You should have walked away.
And how do you know when it's time? I knew it was time for me to step away from coaching high school soccer, probably 2 years before I actually did. And I was not the coach that I was, and I wasn't the coach that the kids deserved.
Yeah.
And, was I able to get myself up? Yeah, I was, but it was work.
Yeah.
And now today, I had a little bit difficult weekend with a few things this weekend, and my wife's like, "What's going on? What's wrong with you?" Well, I've got some health issues I got to take care of, and I sit down and really thought about it. I do not like sitting in the bleachers.
Is that right?
It has nothing to do with the parents, even though they're idiots.
Yeah.
Well, it's not all of them. There's some really good parents, but there's just some people. But it's just, I know in my mind the adjustments that need to be made, and I'm sitting up there and nobody'd even tell. If I try to talk about it logically from a coach's perspective, the people around me look at me like, "This guy's crazy."
Yeah.
But they don't see the game the way I see the game. And so that's difficult for me to switch into that next role of. So my daughter said, "Dad, do you think you'd have time to help me coach the sixth grade boys?" And I'm like, I'm there. I'm pumping up basketballs. I'm just right back in the mode. But in the fourth quarter of the year of our business year, you mentioned it earlier. We look at the scoreboard, and you talk about goals all the time, and the goals are kind of our scoreboard.
Yeah.
And we sit down, we look. We're going to hit this. We're going to hit that one. Now maybe we're not going to hit that one. As of yesterday morning, I was down 14 pounds on a
good for you.
25-pound goal. Well, now, a few more months.
Yeah.
And it's just, I know we're both on that same train at times.
Yeah.
Am I going to hit the goal I set? No, but I'm closer to it than had I not set it.
Right.
And at the end of the day, when we, closing out the year, especially, you're in an industry with mortgages where there are a lot of things that are outside of your control.
Woo.
And it'd be easy to sit back and say, well, this market is terrible. I'll just sit here and wait for the market to come back and collect a paycheck. I'm not sure it quite works like that.
Yeah, I wish it would. So as you are, here's what I mean. You win some, you lose some. So what, right? And in life, we talked a little bit about this last week too, but happily ever after don't mean easy.
Yeah. Trust me on that.
Right. And we get shaken when it's not easy. We get dealt a bad hand sometimes. But you can hang your head and become depressed and withdraw from everybody and everything, and that's not going to help you in the long run at all. And then Walter Shaw, a teammate of mine, in college. His mother, when she came up for the family weekend all those years ago, you know, um, you know, she walked into that dorm room, and it was messy, and she kind of laid into Walter, and she says, "See, what you don't understand is dirt attracts dirt." and by keeping this place dirty, you're going to attract dirt, whether it's people in your life, whether it's situations, whether it's health, whether it's whatever, right? And you have to understand that when we go through life, and you become frumpy and depressed, and take your eyes off the goal, when you don't know how to readjust the goal, right?
Yeah.
Listen, let's use Rancher Ron, God rest his soul. Rancher Ron is flying along in life, making a difference in people's lives. Just one of the purest, most genuine people you ever meet. And then on Father's Day of 2019, hey Deke, I'm sitting in the hospital, just diagnosed with stage 4 liver cancer.
Yeah.
And you know what? What did he do? He said, "I'm going to beat it. I'm going to tackle this." Our good friend Tom Sellers, right, beat his cancer and then came back and lived for several years to win the fight against cancer. Everybody says he lost his fight against. No, boy, when you're in heaven, you won that fight. You told cancer no more, because cancer needs a host body to survive.
That's right.
So you beat that, right? It's sad. It's hard for us. But these are people who looked at the fourth quarter of their life and said, well, I can sit here, pout, mope, and cry, or I can continue to make a difference and push forward. And they both did, right? And I mean, Tom came up with the show, he and Robbie, Not Done Yet, that played on this station for years, and changed a lot of people's lives. And that's impressive.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
And it's still, Rachel, his wife, is still struggling. They were, so close, and you think you have everything, and then something's gone. Well, it's she's moving on, and she's but it's a struggle.
Yeah,
I constantly watch. I've lost now 20 friends in the last year and a half, and several of them my age. And our good friend John, his wife Terry, just passed away from cancer. God rest her soul. And we struggling. They did everything together. They were everywhere together. You never saw one without the other. And so entering into that fourth quarter of life, the chances of you both going at the same time by driving over a cliff are pretty slim. One or the other has to go on.
Yeah.
And my wife has given me strict orders that I need to get married, because there's no way I can survive without a woman in my life.
Absolutely. The fun thing too about the fourth quarter is, it's not crowded on the extra mile.
No, it's not.
And whatever that extra mile is for you in your life, and you in your business, and you in your journey, whatever your game is that you're playing, whatever the goal is that you're playing, okay, figure this out, folks, because now is the time to really, dig your heels in and push and commit to adding, a big goal of, here in this fourth quarter, how many people can I help? How many people can I change the life of?
Yeah.
How many people, can I be there for? And when you turn your eyes off of your internal focus, it's amazing what the universe, what God, what the spirits will throw at your feet. And you can't continue to just. I mean, let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
You're how old?
67.
67. I'm 53. Nowhere in our lifetime did we think the world would be like this, did we?
It's not possible.
No, when we talked about the year 2000, for just to put comparison, we thought we'd have flying cars and
the Jetsons,
basically, right?
Right.
And it's not even close to what we have. and we have a bunch of people who are mixed up, misguided, confused, hate each other. It's not a it's a scary time to be in the world.
It is. And where did we come up with this? It's okay if we don't talk politics here,
Right.
but if I talked about anybody the
Good
way
morning,
these
Shana.
politicians talk about each other, I'd get thrown in handcuffs for slander. I'd be sued.
Yeah.
But it's okay because, well, I'm running against you for an office, so I can say all this garbage.
Yeah. There are. You got to find something that's going to motivate you to push. You got to find something to and that amygdala. You're always in a fight or flight, right? You are always, and when it triggers, you got to figure out: am I going to fight or am I going to run? And in life, I'm telling you, sometimes you got to stand and fight, and that's how you push through and finish strong to start strong.
Yeah, I was looking for the coward of the county when I was out in Gatlinburg, but I didn't find him. As you said, when we're in conflict, we're in fight or flight.
Yeah.
And when we journal on gratitude, we can remove ourselves, at least for the moment, from the conflict.
Yeah.
So we can think clear enough about how we're going to go back into that conflict. And we don't understand. You get hit in the face. What is it Mike Tyson said? And we said it on the show before. Everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face. And when you do, how are you able to react? Now, this society, this culture that we live in America has been punched in the face.
Yeah.
And we're not reacting well. We're just constantly in conflict. A real good friend of mine had an issue with something that said on the radio station in jest, but he is now not talking to me over it. And, and he sent me all these videos and all this other thing, substantiate his position. I said, I was just kidding around. I was just trying to make a point through humor. And he took it wrong. And
how dare you?
No, yeah, right. Yeah. Two bald guys and microphone humor.
Yeah, right.
We try to stay away from that as much as we can.
Right. But we want you to feel miserable.
What's our point today? What are we trying to help someone out there? Damon, Shana, someone out there listening. What are we trying to get them to think about?
Well, I think that just talking and saying, hey, it's the fourth quarter. This year's almost done. If you run your goals on a calendar basis, which a lot of people do, with the new, how many years we've been doing this, 6 years, how many years have we gone over, the New Year resolution stuff and how it doesn't work. But there are, even though you broke your resolution, you go through the rest of the year going, man, here it is again. At the end of the year,
do I recall
I didn't
an
get
old
to the
one?
gym. I didn't do this. I didn't change. So whether you write down your goals and you're very specific and they drive you, or you don't, there's still a space in there that's saying, remember what you said, right? That takes up a lot of energy. As Scott and I had Caroline Greenleaf on, it's that energy that talks about you're kind of given that energy every day, and if you get rid of it, see what people talk about SMART goals. What is it? It's
specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely.
Right. And if you talk about, and that's wonderful. And it makes it cute and fun, but in the honest to God truth is, if they don't meet 5 conditions, whether it's a personal goal, a business goal, or whatever, it's you're not ever going to attain it. Right. So there has to be clarity. Okay. That's that SMART goal piece. Okay. that kind of gives you clarity. Here it is. You can line it up. You can see it. You can really paint the picture. In the producer's booth, Gonzo drew a picture for Pete. I have it hanging up there, and it's of a helicopter. Now, he was a helicopter pilot, so he made this watercolor, which is pretty cool. It looks like a war zone, I would say, but that's specific. Right there. That's clarity. This is the picture I wanted to show. And well, there it is, right? It's good. Challenge, right? Goals have to push you, stretch you. They have to challenge you. And a lot of times, and I'm preaching to the choir again, we hear about stretch goals, or big, hairy, audacious goals, right? The BHAG goals. You have to do it. You have to stretch. You have to do this. Well, that's okay. They have to challenge you. You can't write a goal that's not going to challenge you.
And what I'm going to make a goal to go to the bathroom every day this year. That's going to happen whether you set the goal or not.
Right.
I'm going to breathe 20 times a minute all year. That's my goal. One of the things with combat brain training that we're doing and focusing on is living in an agile environment. If we want to get better, we want to get stronger, we have to constantly change things up a little bit so that it's
always
fresh in our mind.
It's that pattern interrupt. Shana says, we're in an interesting time. I think it was Reagan that said, we were never meant to do battle with the whole world. If you bleed or react to everything you see and hear, you will exhaust your mental energy. With tech and all the information we are assaulted with, it's no wonder we are numbing out in a great number. Yeah. I mean, it is. When you're a battle, ambulance drivers, first responders, you do get numb. Surgeons, that first time that you slice open a body, it might be like, and then after 100 surgeries, you're like, zip, 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 right? There is that numbing out and overstimulation. The other thing is, because we're not reaching out, because we're not involved with other people, we sit in our own stink and we wallow in that. And then we've said, for as much as we've progressed people, for as much as we've progressed as a society in the world, we've regressed as well. We are back to writing pictures on the cave wall. What do I mean? We don't speak to one another anymore. Our communication is written, right? Every text, or comment, right? And so now we've got all of these things, and guess what? It doesn't go away, just like the paintings on the cave wall. All these comments, all these things that are out there stay out on the internet. Once they're there, they're imprinted. And when all of a sudden I don't like you because of the letter you have in front of your name, and I won't listen to you because your letter is different than the one I have. Come on. What happened to good debate? What happened to being able to cognitively think and critically think and listen to what you have to say, Coach, and go, well, Coach, as much as I love you, I think you're full of shit, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Right? Stay full of shit. Wonderful. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to go out and have breakfast with you, right? Doesn't mean that I'm not going to invite you over for a barbecue or whatever. It just means, okay. And guess what happens at that point? Because of our friendship and because of who we are, we go, all right, well, I guess we're not going to bring up that subject again, right?
Well, and just to be clear, I stepped on the scale before I did my work this morning, then afterwards, and it was only about 1.5 pounds. So I'm not full of shit. I'm only about 1%.
1%. Shayna says, deep compassion and rage require big energy. Both can be addictive and detrimental when used to avoid self-work. You're right. And it's easier for me to throw blame and pitch blame than it is to look at the mirror and accept that, whoops, my bad.
I did that.
Right. Now, so I was talking about the 5 critical conditions of really pushing strong, and it goes right into what Shayna is saying there, about self-work. And, so you got to have clarity. You have to be challenged, especially going into this fourth quarter. The other is commitment. You need to look at those and go, all right, this one's out of the question. I would love, it's a hope and a pipe dream. I would love, this, but it's out of the question. Maybe it's out of the question. And if you look at it and go, I'm not going to give that 110% and go the extra mile, then that's not a real good push, right? It's not a real good goal. It's not, you're going to do that. That's that you're going to, sit behind all your social media and become an old curmudgeon.
Well, that's twice we've used curmudgeon. Yeah. Well, 3 times now.
Word of the day.
Word of the day. Life is such a mixed blessing. As we go through it and we're caught up in the middle of it, we think everything is just so important. It's like that referee's call. The referee makes a call and it's, hey, what are you thinking? And at the end of the game, you look back and go, that call really worked to our favor.
Yeah.
But in the moment, we're like reactive to it. And I think life kind of throws us at the same thing. The only way we're going to know if 2022 was a good year is looking back on it.
Yeah.
When we're caught in the middle of it, we look at what happened. The market is down 217,000 points, and the inflation is rising. Inflation's at like 9%. This year's really going to suck, folks. You need to go in, close your shades and your doors, and just go to sleep for the next 6 months. Well, we can't do that,
right? And you shouldn't. let's be honest.
Please don't.
Here's the 4th thing of the 5 critical things is feedback. And here's the hardest part on both sides. The hardest part is to give honest feedback, and the hardest part is to receive honest feedback and seek it out. We all want that pat on the back, but don't tell me I'm doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Right. If I share my goals with somebody and I'm sharing it because I want you to hold me accountable, well, then guess what? If I ask for feedback, you can't put on kid gloves and go, hey man, you're doing great. Stay in there, buddy. You got this.
Yeah.
When I'm screwing the pooch. That's just the bottom line.
One of my favorite moments in coaching, we had this little 3-point shooter. His name was Alan Shire. And there's about 7 seconds left in the game. We're down by 2, and I call timeout. And I get him over in the huddle. I'm like, you guys want to go for the tie and go into overtime, or do you want to go for the win? They're all like, give Shire the ball. And we're like, all right, well, here's the pattern. Here's what we're going to do. And I drew it up for him. And Nate Wysocki, big Nate, a wonderful guy, but his range was about 2 feet. And big Nate, his job was to set the pick for Allen and then just break off to the corner and drag a man away from the basket. And so we set it up. Well, guess what? The other coach knew that Allen was a pretty good 3-point shooter as well. And he threw a double team at Allen, and the guy he threw on Allen was Nate's guy. So Nate winds up over in the corner, wide open, standing outside the 3-point line. He's the only one open to get the ball. And in the huddle, we talked about the 3-point shot.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about not you, Nate.
Right.
Not you, Nate. So the ball comes to Nate, and I just saw this look in his eyes going, oh, Coach said we should go for the win. And I saw it in his eyes, and I'm like, Nate, no. And he released that ball. And it was like slow motion. I can still see it today, right through the net. Right? 3-point, win
just
the
like
game.
You drew it up.
I'm like, no, great shot. Right? it doesn't happen the way you draw it up.
Right.
It doesn't
Life
happen the
doesn't.
way you think. Life is going to hand you things, and the best we can do is react.
Yeah.
And there was enough confidence in the huddle that it poured over on Nate, and Nate's like, "I got this."
Yeah.
We,
I love what Shayna says here too. I heard someone say, "Done is better than perfect," and as a master procrastinator, I need to work that into my fourth quarter. For the love of holy, don't tell me what to do. Well, that's right. And feedback isn't telling you what to do. Feedback is saying, is helping people determine how well they're performing. Right. And perhaps what they need to change to improve results, but not necessarily tell you what to do. I had the opportunity, and Toby, if you're listening, a week ago, Toby Evans and I were on the phone for quite a while, and of course, Toby has put together adventure races and things like that, Happy Mutant Adventure Racing, and there's a company out there doing some things, and their philosophy is complete, don't compete. So that's the philosophy of the Ironman, right?
Right.
Complete it. Now, once you've done some Ironman, you want to be the first, or the Boston Marathon or Chicago Marathon, you want to win that. There's some people who are driven that way, and when it becomes your second or third Ironman, it's not to necessarily complete, but you're competing against your old time. So you're looking to get better. But what they talk about is complete. Look at those goals that you have. Look at those things that you have. Absolutely, complete it. I mean, take a look around your home. And tell me, you don't have to here, but write down or take a look at all of the little projects that you got 90% of the way through. And you just needed a thing from the store and you never went and got it. And now every morning you look at that and go, God, why didn't I just finish that? I should finish it. You know what? I'm going to stop by. And you never do.
Right.
That little project, those incomplete things take up so much energy and so much mental space that it's crazy. So when you take a look at the goals or the challenges that you've made for yourself through this year, then complete. Here in the fourth quarter, tie it up, finish the things, wrap it up, put a bow on the things that you're 90% of the way done with, and complete them.
Get her done.
You're going to be close. What would you rather have? Let's say you have 20 goals. Would you rather finish 10? Or be, have 20, 30% of the way done?
I would rather finish 10 of them.
Right.
Right.
I would too. But that's not what we do. And when we ask for that feedback, I don't give it to you the way that I should. Right. I'm not honest. And sometimes we in today's world don't know what truth is anymore and what honesty is. And you're not being a jerk to me if you're just being honest with me.
Well, it's all the way you say it too. Hey, Deke, you really create a lot of vacuum on the show this morning. I need you to just be quiet.
Yeah.
Well, that's attacking. That's going to hurt. But hey, Deke, remember when you said this on the show this morning? Right. I don't know how our listeners felt, but I know what it made me feel like. And maybe we need to think a little bit clearer about, when we talk. So it's all in how you present the criticism
Absolutely.
as well.
But it's got to be honest.
It's got to be honest.
Yeah.
You can't really sugarcoat it. But, in the military, we had the sandwich method, we called it. Hey, Deke, you're doing a really good job. However, your room is a mess. And if your room is a mess, and your life's probably a mess too. So why don't we start with cleaning up your room? And when you clean up your room, I think you're going to find everything else is going to fall into place because you're a really good guy. So we start with a little praise. We enter into the criticism in a
Yeah.
a positive, enforcing kind of way, and we finish up with the praise again.
And of course, I don't know the commander's name, but we've all seen that and heard. The first task of the day is to make your bed.
Make your bed.
Right, and that is a huge learning lesson, and it went viral because people were like, "Oh, this is brilliant, simple." Is it brilliant? But he made you think about it and go, "Oh my gosh!" And then so you completed something right away, and then at the end of the day, you come back and you see that task has been completed. As simple of a task as it is. But it tells your subconscious mind and it tells your psyche, job well done. If anything else happened, I got that done.
I had a room in the barracks, but I wasn't living in the barracks. So my room in the barracks is kind of like my storeroom. And I had my snow tires back in the day when you had to change out your snow tires for your regular tires. I had my snow tires in the barracks. Well, they had a surprise barracks inspection one morning. The commander walked in and there's snow tires and everything. I'll never forget that. He set some goals for me that morning.
Yeah, and that that kind of rolls it in. Shana says, "I appreciate those who are nuanced enough to make me think it might have been my idea." It's a brilliant. That's a brilliant strategy, and the people who are like that and can do that, they are. That is really pretty cool. Sometimes I'm not that brilliant. The next is task complexity. So the fifth thing of really pushing through the fourth quarter: clarity, challenge, commitment, feedback, and now task complexity. Yeah, and we'll move to what Shana says. I'm a master procrastinator. All right. So we've learned that procrastination is a bad thing. All right, and so when you see the word procrastinator or procrastination, we have tied that to a not good feeling. However, change the way that you look at it, and this is what I tell people: is you work best under pressure. Okay. You work best under pressure. It's not pressure from the outside world. It's not pressure from anybody else. It's pressure from you,
within.
Right? And from within. You are the person that's asking for the ball for the last second shot. You are that person. So it's not that you're procrastinating. It's that's what you and your mind tends to work the best. Why? Because of the complexity that's there. When I was in college, I was taking computer information systems, CIS. It was called today. It's called. After that, it was called programming, and now it's called coding, right? And we would program computers in COBOL. And this was back in the day, and this is where to get a computer to do a simple thing, you might have the dot matrix printout that could be 8 to 10 feet long.
I was punch cards before.
Yeah, right. And so in class we would get 3 weeks to do this and work out all the bugs and things like that. Well, 2 days to 3 days before is when I would start and finish, because I happen to work better under that type of complexity. Okay. But some people call you a procrastinator. Procrastinator is a negative term. Turn that around. Change procrastinator to, I thrive under pressure. I thrive when the clock is down. I want the ball and I want to win. Here's what can help you with that. Whose clock are you on? Are you on somebody else's clock, or are you on your clock? So as you're setting your goals, as you're pushing for your personal things in life and in the year, why give yourself a year to achieve that? Maybe a year is too long.
Yeah. Set it for a month.
Set it for a month and a half. Instead of a year's worth of goals and wants and desires, change it to 3 months. Change it to 2 months. You got six different pieces then, instead of 4 quarters or a whole year. Because here's what happens with our brain, and this is what happens. Well, it's only February.
Plenty of time.
Plenty of time.
That's my biggest enemy is having too much time.
And now we go, wait a minute, the time's running out. The clock's almost out.
Shane, you may want to join a group that I started several years ago called the International Procrastinators of America.
Yeah.
I was the president. You probably haven't heard of it because I didn't get around to sending out the invitations. But as soon as I had the venue for the meeting, I was going to send out the invitations. But I didn't get out to find the venue because I was, working on the outline of our rules, and so eventually I will send out those invitations. And Shane, I promise you'll be right at the top of the list.
Shana says I was taught that method as well. I think it was called the shit sandwich: positive critique followed by get punched, followed by positive send off.
That's it. And it worked.
Yeah. She says it's a common aspect of ADD as well. Time management is difficult. Time blind. Yeah. She goes, get my tiara ready, Coach. Tiara. Right. You're right. And as you know, as Shana at 53, I was the kid who had way too much energy. It wasn't called ADHD. It wasn't called ADD, and it certainly wasn't called onset. Now I've got a daughter who I've got a daughter who's a clinical psychologist, and a future daughter-in-law, Spencer's girlfriend, Abby, who's also a psychologist. And they're like, "Oh, there goes your dad," because I'm that. Whoop, there you go, left turn. Whoop,
most people don't get to be the subject of one thesis. You get to be the subject of two of them.
That's right. And so, and yeah, I've got it too. But what I have learned to do with myself is I've learned to go, okay, where are we at? Yeah. Where are we at in life? Well, how much do I have to do? What do I have to do? And the other is just because of our sheer human nature, we tend to hold on to things too long. We're too proud. There are some goals that you've written down. There are things in your business life that you've done where you've stayed too long. You to your point, what you said earlier, Coach, is I realized I wasn't the right person right now. I'm sitting there yesterday in the gym as well, and I will tell you, I absolutely love to sit in the stands. I love to sit in the stands because I'm a pretty intense coach. I mean, when I'm coaching, I'm pretty intense, and I've learned how to sit in the stands and just thoroughly enjoy it, and point things out. And so I love to sit in the stands, especially when it's my kids. Anyway, with that said, I'm watching Coach Kayla Toussaint and how she's connecting with these women, and how they, there's a lot of times I'm like, hey, focus, here, because they are who they are. Now, she's 27, I would imagine. Brilliant coach, brilliant lady, just great human being. But the respect that she has from her team and how she connects with these young women, in their early 20s are just fantastic. And I'm sitting there just smiling, and Alice is like, well, what's I go? Look how good she is. And I'm learning from that and watching her, and you have to understand that. How many times have we sat there, Coach, and watched a sporting event and go, Coach has been around forever. He's past his prime, right? So you have to learn how to shift and make those moves and say, you know what? I wrote this goal down. I spent this amount of time on it. Guess what? Time to just drop it. It's not going to happen. That's okay. Didn't mean enough to me.
Cut bait.
It's right.
I've had the opportunity to face that, 14 years more on this great spinning blue marble than you've had. And I think I come to the realization a little bit earlier now, but I still have that competitive streak in me that says, no, you got this, you can do this. I wrote a novel. I wrote and published a novel. That's cool. And I started writing the sequel, and I got 3/4 done with the sequel. And I'm still 3/4 done with the sequel.
Sure.
And, I wrote a lot of poetry. And then 3 months ago, I was at a retreat, and I wrote another really good poem. And I thought, all right, write it back. I haven't done anything with it since because, I'm just busy. But am I busy doing the things that matter to me? Am I doing the things that matter to my family, or am I just busy? My wife challenges me on that all the time. Do you think you have too many things on your plate right now? Oh, no, I'm fine. You think you have too many? No, I'm fine. Well, I'm not fine because I'm not finishing them.
Yeah.
I'm getting them started. And as long as as a company commander, as a plant manager, as a varsity coach, I had a staff of people that I said, hey, I got a great idea. You guys, let's make this happen. And boom, they go make it happen. And I could go think about the next thing. But when I wound up as an entrepreneur working myself, and I had a staff of 3, me, myself, and I found out those other 2 guys weren't listening to me very well, and I really needed to work on it.
Shayna says that evolution requires a few of us that run towards the fire. These people are excellent in emergencies. The intense situations bring clarity when others lose theirs. Get your daughter on the show someday. I would love to. However, I'm still dad, right? And she will say, I would rather poke myself in the eye with a fork than to therapize my family. So absolutely. And then she goes on to say, learning when to drop the rope is a quick lesson when learning to water ski. Let go or go down. Now, I learned to water ski with the McDonald family, not Ronald McDonald, but they had a boat out on the Mississippi, and I'd never water skied. Loved the water, never water skied. And they're like, okay, so you put these skis on, you got the ski jacket on, and you just point the skis up, push your legs straight, and we'll pull you out of the water. And once you're up, go. But if you go down, you got to let go. And the first attempt, up, bang. I did exactly what they said. I didn't know what I was doing. I did exactly what they said. Bang, I come up, boom, and I'm going. And then I got outside of that wake, and I tried to get back in, and boom, I went down. And I held onto that rope. Right. I don't know. That was my saving grace. Underwater, and I'm like, oh, let go of the rope. You come back up. You're absolutely right. That's a big lesson and a quick lesson. And a lot of times in personal lives, we hang on to that rope way too long. Way too long.
I was 15, didn't know how to swim. In Nebraska, we don't have much water that's over ankle deep.
Yeah.
And I was out at the lake. My buddy said, let's ski. Very similar thing. And but then we didn't have the jackets. We just had the little tube that went around the waist. Yeah. But as long as I got that tube, it'll keep me afloat. I'll be okay. Well, same thing. I go down. I don't let go of the rope. If I'm like, I'll let go of the rope. I throw it up. I said, good thing I got this belt on. I turn around to swim back to my skis, and there's the belt laying right on top of the skis. The water had pulled it right off. Now I'm in 15, 18 feet of water, and I've never swam before in my life. This is the day I learned how to swim. I'm like, well, I think I just kicked my feet really hard, and that's crazy.
There we go. Yeah.
And, but life is interesting.
Yeah. So absolutely couldn't agree with you more. And, so maybe now is the time to take a look at that list and say, what can I get 100% complete? What can I finish? How do I push? And just by finishing 1 to maybe 2 things on that list of things you had for the year, personally, it's time to go. It's time for me to go.
Yeah.
Let's go. I can let these ones go. It's not going to bother me. And by you literally taking time to say, I'm okay not achieving that one. Let's put that away. Yeah. You're going to focus so intently on the other few things that you want to, and feel so much better on New Year's Eve when you go back and look at it and go, no, I let that one go. I'm okay. Yeah. That one didn't mean that much to me. My commitment wasn't there, obviously. And I don't feel like a loser. I feel as if I'm
in charge. I'm in control.
Right. You're not losers, folks. I'm just saying. Shayna says, I'm going to go make my bed now. That's it. Task one. So, as we look at it and whatever it is you're doing in life, however you're pushing forward in life and whatever you're making in life, whatever it is here in the fourth quarter of this year, and let's be honest, if you're a teacher, you're in the second quarter of your year.
Is that second quarter already?
Yeah. Right. What do you do? How do you get to it? Am I where I wanted to be? The way I looked at this school year. If you're, there are companies out there whose fiscal year, start in the fourth quarter. So you're in the first quarter of your year professionally. Take a look at all that and how does it work together and how do you get to where you want to get, right? And how do you push? How do you thrive? What matters to you? You know what? Cut some bait, maybe.
And figure out what's taking your time that you're not going to finish it,
right?
And it's just taking your time. It's taking your mental space and energy. So, in the famous words of the great Disney show, "Let it go, let it go." Right. Hey, we're beyond the fourth quarter of the show. I want to remind you one more time that we are brought here through the financial support of Natural Therapy Wellness Center, www.mchenrymassage.com. Yeah. 815-385-8190. John and the team over there. If you're stressed, they will make you blessed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, next week, we may have a special. We may have a
very, very busy guy. So I'm not even going to put it out there.
Okay. So I'll just casually
right.
put it out there because he has to his following and network. But
that's right.
Join us next week for a special guest who will let's
inspire.
Yeah. Perspire.
Yeah.
Retire. No, we're not going to retire.
Yeah, I would love to. Anyway,
it's not all it's been out to be. Trust me.
So, folks, if you take away anything from today, if you're starting your week out, take a look at this. Start by taking a look at this week, and what can you do? What can you work on? What can you get done this week? And then go do it.
Yeah, do something today.
Right. Movement.
The Nike. Just do it. Sometimes you just gotta do it. Just stop. Take care of that thing. Sometimes we focus on the elephants in the room when we just need to take care of the fleas.
Yeah.
So take care of the little things. I think you'll find out most of the big things will start falling into place for you.
And even though looking back is important, your rear view mirror shouldn't be the size of your windshield. Right?
I can see behind me.
And one of my 10 rules for success is number 5. It's right in the middle. Learn from greatness.
Right.
There's a point in your life. There was a time in your life where you listened to something or you read something that touched you, and go back to that. Right. I follow, believe it or not, Paul Harvey. Right?
Love Paul Harvey.
So people out there on social media put a lot of Paul Harvey stuff out there, and just his brilliance of the way he could take that 3 to 5 minutes, and now the rest of the story, and when I hear those words, when I was in my 20s, and I was working construction. I always took lunch, and he was on at noon.
Yeah.
So when I hear those words, when I'm listening to it, the brilliancy of the way that he delivers it, the brilliancy of what he said, and of course those are different times,
and the quality of his voice. I mean,
I taste bologna because I always ate bologna sandwiches. That was it.
My dad had a John Deere 3010 tractor, and on the big fender of the tractor, he had this radio that was about this big. And it blared, and it had the local station on, and you couldn't understand it because it was crackling. But when Paul Harvey came on, wherever he was at in the field, he'd shut the tractor down, turn it down.
As Shana says, Paul's voice alone had my heart. Yeah. That guy. Listen, dig some of his stuff up on YouTube or whatever, and go listen to a few of his pieces. And there's some things that you're just going to be like, man, this guy's brilliant. It's just great. But go back, right? So looking through that little rear view, but sometimes going back and just hearing something or doing something, a song, a book, a smell, whatever, can motivate you to get some things done.
Absolutely. And as we come to the very end of the show today, just like to remind everybody that tune in next week for the rest of the story.
Yeah, I don't know what just happened. Anyway, there
we go.
I don't know what's going on. There.
Well, you've been listening to Two Bald Guys and a Microphone. Thank you so much for sharing part of your time today. Get caught in the net with us. For Deke Jones, this is Tim Stewart. I am Coach Papa, and it's time to get off the bench and get back in the game. Go get them. Now just do it.